about it, man, because I know there's some good things, some bad things, some likes and dislikes, and criticisms.
Yep.
Um, so let's get into the show, man. Let's get into the show. Now, I will say this: we are still not better than Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross. Okay,
No.
we are not better than John Madden and Pat Summerall. But I will tell you who we are better than. We are better than the Cut Man or the Vaseline guy or the towel holder for NXT because they could not, and I repeat, not stop Samoa Joe's blood from coming down.
No.
That was a travesty, but I thought it added a little bit more to the match.
Yeah.
And we'll get into all of that later. All of that later. But first, let me introduce the guy that I call the best in the world today, who will be going to the next NXT show here in Columbia, South Carolina on Friday evening. And hence we're having the show a little bit early. But it's all good. It's all good. He is a wrestling fan. Joining me, another wrestling fan on the Wrestling Fans podcast. Because if it were not for this show, if it were not for the oh crap, I'm suck at this, and I'm reading it too, Trent.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you shouldn't go with scripted promos.
Oh wow, because we would not have this show if it were not for the interesting views of wrestling fans. So thank you for joining the show, and now let's get into the show. We have to cover all of the events that encompass WrestleMania, starting with NXT, a great NXT Dallas show, the Hall of Fame on last Saturday, WrestleMania, and the Raw after WrestleMania. We're gonna have another top five this week, where we'll go, we'll dabble into what we thought were the best of this past WrestleMania weekend, and any other things else we need to talk about, Trent.
Nah, I think that's it.
Okay, cool. So Trent, if you're ready, man, let's get into it.
All right.
Now you wanted to go over everything, right? So let's
Yeah.
start from the top. NXT. How
Yeah.
did you feel about it?
Overall, a really, really good show. They showed out that night. They really, they put it all out, and they was probably the better show over WrestleMania.
Yeah, it was a very concise show. Obviously, you got 2 hours, 2 hours versus close to seven for WrestleMania. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a difference there. But
Yeah, and you didn't even watch the first 2 hours of that seven like I did.
listen, I thought there was the daylight savings time that caught me. I don't know what the heck caught me, but I did not catch the pre-show. I thought the pre-show started at 7 o'clock. It was going to be for 1 hour, and they would do the normal 3 hour WrestleMania. Even though I had heard that WrestleMania could go over maybe a half hour longer, so I'm thinking that WrestleMania was from 8 o'clock to 11:30 Eastern time, and I
Yeah.
was totally wrong. I was totally wrong on both accounts. So Trent got me hooked into the pre-show, and it was a wrap from there, man.
Yep.
But back to NXT, match by match. I mean, I know you have comments on them. There's so much to talk about, man. So
Yeah.
let's start from the top.
All right. So first up, we had America Alpha. They defeated the NXT Tag Team Champions, the Revival, and I gave that match a 3/4 star. I said it's a really fun match and probably my second favorite match of the night. Love the spot where Dash crawls under the ring to knock Jason Jordan off apron so that Gable can't tag in. Finally, the tag division is on par with both the women and main event division. Can't wait to
True,
see more of both teams.
true, very very true, very very true. And this was the opening match. I mean, they didn't disappoint anyone. Great opening match, and that was just a great kick off to the show. Congratulations for American Alpha for winning the tag titles, man. That's cool.
Yeah, very happy for them.
Definitely, definitely.
Let's see. And also throughout the night, they would show people in the audience, and some of the notable ones were Kota Ibushi, who was another former New Japan talent, who will most likely be in the Global Cruiserweight Series.
Okay.
And
Okay.
also, we got Bobby Roode, former TNA World Champion, in the crowd.
Dude, when I when I saw that, I was thinking, oh man, I marked out big time because of the fact that I think this was one of the first times that nothing was really set in stone as far as being in public that he had signed or that he was in negotiations, basically.
Yeah,
So for him to show up and be shown on screen, and they announce him as Bobby Roode, and they act like they know who he is, I thought
yeah,
that was big. I thought that was, but I thought that was NXT. Like I don't think that would happen on Raw or SmackDown or any pay per view. But that just speaks to the nature and the culture of NXT.
right. And another thing, I always think it's weird how, like, during WrestleMania weekend, you have all these events going on as far as, like, not just WWE, but Ring of Honor and Evolve and all that. But yet, TNA, who probably needs more promotion and stuff than anybody, alienates themselves and don't even get involved with this weekend. Wouldn't you think it'd be smart if they got into this weekend and done something?
That's another conversation. Uh, dude, I totally agree with you. The one thing that I look at when I think of TNA doing something like that is that I don't think it would be helpful for them because of
Yeah,
the fact that they're trying to. I would hope that they're trying to be in competition with WWE, whereas
yeah,
your PWGs, your ROHs, all of your so-called indie promotions, like whether
right.
they want to admit it or not, they're breeding grounds.
Yeah,
They're the ones that establish the talent that go on further in life.
yeah,
So if TNA did that, like I think it would have a darker backlash, you know, with respect to the ROHs and all the indie promotions that can do something like that and kind of not really get the backhand from Vince. They're allowed to do that. That's cool. Just stay in your lane.
yeah. And as far as Kota Ibushi goes, he used to wrestle for the DDT promotion in Japan. Then he went to New Japan, and he also wrestled that weekend for Evolve. And also later that night, he would go on. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. It's a promotion that's called Kaiju Big Battle.
I think I have.
Have
Go
you ever
ahead.
seen it?
Dude, the only thing I can think of is like aliens right now for some reason.
Yeah, well, like it's like these big like monsters and stuff. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I tried to watch 5 minutes of it and I couldn't get into it because it was just too unrealistic for me.
That'll be something to Google, man. I mean, was he in a suit or something? Or
No, it's just himself. He wrestled a stuffed chicken, like a big, I think it was a chicken or a bird that
yeah,
was
yeah,
stuffed.
yeah. I mean, for some reason, like I said, every time I hear kaiju, I think of alien or just big,
Yeah,
huge monster. But I think that's more culture related. I guess.
yeah, that's even more smart culture related than I'm willing to dive into.
Yeah, that's yeah,
I mean,
that's
that's the
crazy.
weirdest thing I've ever seen. I mean, I was even like, how do people get into this? I don't even.
Oh, Trent, by next show, you're gonna look at some of these matches, and I'm gonna look at some of these matches, and we'll probably think they're the coolest thing in the world. Yeah, man, yeah, like I said, I think it's a cultural thing.
Yeah,
Can't not culture, so that's cool.
yep. All right. So next on NXT we had Austin Aries defeating Baron Corbin, and that match was nothing special. Didn't really impress me. Corbin, I'm not that impressed with. Underwhelming match and one of the worst of the weekend.
Yeah, I don't want to give this a grade or anything. I'm kind of disqualifying this from the
I,
from the card.
I rated it 2 3/4 star.
Well, see, I mean, the thing about this is I think this was like a starter match. I don't,
Yeah,
of course, the way it, the way it came off. They could have given a better match, um, but you still had Austin Aries, stay in his lane somewhat. I mean, he didn't come into the match like he was a 6'6", monster. He came in as the greatest man that ever lived, but still, someone that's under 6 feet.
right.
So it wasn't like he was going to dominate Baron Corbin, but he played the underdog role, and I think the theme of it was that he was smarter than Baron Corbin because he was more experienced. So
Yeah,
it was a starter match. They'll probably have 3 or 4. So
right,
this I just disqualify this from even giving a grade on it.
right. And Baron didn't impress me here, but by the weekend was over, which we'll talk about later, he started to impress me a little bit.
Oh, maybe
Just
someone.
a little bit.
Maybe Yeah, but maybe some of those other people who boo him consistently, those same events maybe change their mind too, man. Just a little bit.
Yep. All right. So last week on the show, do you remember when I said that this could be the best match of the weekend? Nakamura versus Sami Zayn.
Yeah, yeah.
Was I right?
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. You were spot on with that. This match out of those 4 days
Yep.
better
Uh,
than Michael PSA's singing. So
oh yeah. Oh, we'll get to that too later. So I said the match was fantastic. How do you like Nakamura's entrance music?
uh, I thought it was cool. Like, don't get me wrong, it didn't overwhelm me with the first time that I heard it, but
Yeah.
I think I could grow to like it more. I didn't know his theme music originally, so it. Let me say this: it was way better than the entrance music that they gave Samoa Joe initially.
Yeah.
So I grew to like it when he won the match. It just it's one of those theme songs that builds. So it's cool.
Yeah. All right. I also said that I love how all of Nakamura's offense pretty much is kicks and knees. I love the forearm exchanges. It felt like I was watching a New Japan match, and Nakamura's bloody nose added to the match.
Yeah. I read something about two of the stars of NXT becoming bloody. Now, his bloody nose, yeah, it did something for the match. It didn't do anything closest to what it did for Joe. But
No.
and we'll get to that shortly. But match overall was good, man. I think they set this match up to be the best match of the whole weekend. I mean, I think that match went at least 20 minutes, or it felt, I watched that match 3 times.
Yeah.
Like it was good. I mean, I hadn't seen Nakamura, but you just saw that crowd in Dallas was thirsty for a match like that, and they hadn't seen one like that, man, from NXT or WWE in a long time. So they
Yeah.
just were allowed to do what they were able to do, and it let Sammy right up into the sunset with an awesome match.
Yeah, and they still kept Sammy strong too, because it took two of his finishers to put Sammy away.
Yeah, man, this was just a good match, man. It was a very good match, and I was glad that I was able to view it 3 times.
Yeah. I rated it 4 3/4 star, so almost at 5 stars.
What? And I mean, I'm not promoting that it needed to be a 5 star match, but what do you think would have made it a 5 star match?
Hmm.
I mean, well, maybe that's a hard question to ask, but
Yeah.
uh, what parts about the match didn't you like? Did you like? Was there a part of the match that you didn't like?
No, not really. I don't know. Just something didn't feel quite 5 star. It just felt like a little bit off.
Okay. Awesome answer. I took
But
that.
I did see a lot of people making it 5 stars.
Yeah, like I wouldn't go 5 stars, but like maybe if it was at WrestleMania, maybe if it was in front of 60,000, 50,000 people, if it was
Yeah,
hyped to be what it was, and it was on the grandest stage of them all, then definitely 5 stars.
yeah,
But you can rate it as well as you like. It was a good match.
yeah. All right. So up next we had the women's championship. Asuka defeated Bailey to win the women's championship. I gave the match 3.5 stars. There was no way it was going to top the prior match, but they did try to. They tried as hard as they could. I feel like compared to other NXT women's matches, this one might got be put in the background a little bit. And also, they kept Bailey strong by having her pass out instead of tap out.
Okay, I like this match better than the Bailey Nia Jax match.
Yeah,
Um, Basically the match of the night or best match of the weekend. Took so much out of the crowd, dude. I
yeah,
mean, like they did that. Hey, we want some Bailey.
yeah,
They did that, and they got in their little songs early for Bailey. But man, the crowd just wasn't as hyped. And I think the match suffered a little bit because it's still a pretty good match, you know.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, man, it was a good match. I was rooting for Oscar. Yeah, Oscar.
yeah,
So I was thrilled when she won it, and I was glad that they did it the way that they did and kept up on strong. So I liked it, dude.
yep. And in the main event, we have Finn Balor retaining the NXT Championship against Samoa Joe. And I gave this match 4 stars.
Question:
Yeah,
this match was not as long as the best match of the night, obviously. But considering the best match of the night was allowed to go longer, I
yeah.
had this match better than the best match of the week
Oh, really? Wow.
because of the fact that it wasn't the match; it was that little extra,
Yeah,
dude. When like the biggest, like the for me, the biggest pop of the week was Joe's blood.
yeah,
Like Joe's blood was the biggest superstar of NXT Friday night. Sorry, I mean when he started bleeding, I think that changed the entire complexion of the match. I'm pretty sure they had the same match. Joe dominates, and Devitt tries to get back into it, and Devitt squeaks out of there with a win, which I have no problem with. But dude, it made Joe look like a freaking monster. Not only did he have blood coming down his face, but it really made him look like a fighter. Like it doesn't matter if the ref or the trainers want to stop the blood and all that. And the horrible job that they did with stopping the blood sucked.
right.
But
And that's probably why I knocked it down a few because the pace of the match kept getting interrupted by them coming in trying to stop the blood.
like at first I thought that, but I think they did it like 4 or 5 times, and it just every time it looked like it pissed Joe off even more, or it
Yeah,
just added to Joe's mystique of being a killer, man. Like they wanted the blood to stop. This being a PG show, or us being in the PG era, needed that blood to stop, which I totally get. But at the
yeah,
same time, if you build this as a fight, which they were in, you're gonna have blood, and you're gonna have somebody continually fight until they have no more blood left. So I thought that was the best part about it.
yeah,
Given that that wasn't in a move set, given that that wasn't a scheduled piece of the match.
yeah. And we also had Samoa Joe throwing Balor into the crowd right on top of a security guard.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Oh, it's like Stephanie was in the crowd too. Like I
Yeah,
wonder how she felt about Joe bleeding all over the place. That was crazy.
Yeah. And I like the finish where they done the spot where was it Joe had the Coquina clutch on and
Yeah,
Balor walks up and falls back and pins him.
yeah. I mean, like I said, I thought it was a creative way to end the match because you kept you kept Joe looking like a freaking monster, and even though you have the demon,
Mm-hmm.
you let him win. Now, and I don't want to take us off focus, but dude, once again, the demon got upstage.
Yeah.
He got upstage because his headline match wasn't the match of the night, obviously. Which I, it just wasn't. Period.
Right.
And then he got upstaged by Joe's Blood.
Yeah.
Like, dude, your champ is has gotten upstaged twice.
Yeah.
Maybe even three times, but definitely when him and Kevin Owens battled in Brooklyn. Whether that should have been the second to last match, question is up for debate. But he was the headline match. He was the last match that went on. He was the last match that supposedly sent people home happy. But everybody was talking about Bailey and Sasha the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, coming out of NXT, you're not talking about the Demon.
Nope.
Like, you might have been talking about the Balor Club, but when that didn't happen, you weren't talking about the NXT Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
You were talking about the match of the night, and for me, you were talking about how much of a badass that Joe is. So I feel bad for Devin, man, because I don't know. Like, I even thought that was the reason that he didn't really go all out with the makeup.
Yeah.
Like, he had it on, but it really didn't cover up everything. So,
Yeah.
it was his second time getting upstage, man.
Yeah. They really need to bring this Balor Club in to give him another, you know, part of his character to add to his character or something. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if he could add just another dimension
Yeah.
to his character. Obviously, he's pulling out more moves and the 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 character, whether it's the makeup or the entrances. Like, I did like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
You think Terry can
Entrance.
give him that chainsaw?
Dude, it took me a while to actually get the Texas Chainsaw thing because I don't think the announcer said it one bit.
No.
So it took me a while. It took me a while. I'm not gonna lie, but and then he like one other thing was Joe's gear was red and black, so he had to switch up his gear.
Yeah.
So it was just a bunch of things that I think they're still building on with him. Add the Balor Club, man. Add him. Just add him, dude.
Yeah.
But it was a very good show. Like I said, I watched some of those matches like three or four times. It was just a solid show, dude. And compared to WrestleMania, I would take this compact version of a wrestling experience over WrestleMania any day.
Yeah. And not to jump to WrestleMania, but I have to say it's funny that the best match at WrestleMania was a match involving three people that just come from NXT last year.
We'll get into that, man. Oh my god,
Yeah.
you definitely got to get into that. All right, so what's next? Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So I even took, as good as a reporter I am, I even took notes for the red carpet special.
Wait. Am I losing my wrestling card? There was a red carpet for the Hall of Fame.
There was.
Holy smokes! I did not know that. I did not know that. I tuned into it. I tuned into it right around like the introduction of The Godfather. So like
I was
Ron
right
and
about
JBL.
that too.
Huh?
I was right about that too. I said he'd be first, and he was.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you were on point like all weekend. I was like, dang, Trent's really knocking him out the park right now. But yeah, I mean, I caught it around that time, so I didn't know if there was a red carpet. Okay, yeah.
All right, well, let me give you some notes on what happened on the red carpet. So we have a new female announcer. Her name is Cathy Kelly.
Yeah.
She's cute, but no Renee Young. The talk of the red carpet was what Michael Hayes was going to wear. Dolph Ziggler admitted that himself and Michael Hayes clash at times about what's better for TV.
Okay.
Randy Orton said he should be back within 2 or 3 months, but it could be sooner.
Oh. Okay.
Sami Zayn gives a great interview saying he is still feeling kind of shaky inside from such a great response from the fans for his match against Nakamura. If Big Show becomes president, he will give away free donuts.
Wow. Typical.
Now here's something. Kalisto and his wife are interviewed, and his wife is even wearing a mask.
Stop it. Are you serious?
Yes, and you know who it looked like? I swear at first, before I actually, they done a close-up on her,
Yeah.
because you could see her like walking around, while they was interviewing other people. I thought it was Sexy Star from Lucha Underground.
Well, I saw him on the show in the crowd. Maybe I need to look at it again, but I didn't see. Oh my gosh, that is ridiculous. I mean, it could. If it is, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
If it is, that's awesome.
I don't think it is her, but the mask, the style of the mask looked kind of like Sexy Star's mask.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, if his wife is a wrestler, then you protect the gimmick. I don't have any problem with it.
Yeah, I don't think she is.
Oh, wow, Jesus. Oh, and maybe they're. Dude, no. I was about to say like maybe they're selling the mask. They're just putting on the mask. My gosh.
Yeah, she looked. I might be wrong. She looked like she was kind of pregnant too. So.
Oh, then there's no way that she's she's wrestling.
Yeah.
There's no way she's jumping off the turnbuckle and doing 450 splashes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
The new woman announcer, Cathy Kelly, mistakenly calls this Emma's first WrestleMania, but she was actually in the women's cluster WrestleMania 30. I also forgot she was in that. But Emma let her know it was her second one.
Yeah.
Emma was like, no, it's my second one.
Yeah, I saw this Cathy Kelly. She's cute. She's pretty tall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, she's no Renee Young, so
No.
sure.
And my final note is Roman Reigns, for such a nice looking man, the women go crazy for, his wife is not that attractive.
Well, dude, you're trying to get me in trouble. That's what you're trying to do. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make me bag on Roman Reigns' wife. Okay? And I'm too sick today to do it. I keep taking cough breaks here and there, so I'm not gonna bag on Roman Reigns' wife. Maybe next week.
I'll say this: Ryback was there with a girl, and the girl that Ryback was with looked much better than the girl Roman was with.
Wow. Well, we'll see. Oh gosh, I'm gonna watch the red carpet for this, and then I'll have my comments next week.
All right. So, you ready to get into the actual Hall of Fame?
Let's do it, man.
All right. So the APA come out. They induct the Godfather. His speech was pretty short. Short and sweet. Of course, he comes out with the hose. He plugs his strip club in Las Vegas, Cheetahs, and tells the young talent to cherish this amazing opportunity and life they have, and then leaves with the hose.
Yeah. It was really quick. Hey, Trent, when they're inducted as a character, they can't go back and expand upon their other characters.
I guess not. Maybe next year we'll get Papa Shango going in the Hall of Fame.
And I'm not saying that, but this was the first time that I watched the Hall of Fame. Admittedly, this was the first time I watched it. Really couldn't take my eyes off it. I mean, it was a very good show. And it seemed like they had timed speeches, which is cool. But yeah, man, for somebody that was a good worker. At the end of the day, just a good worker. Karma. The Godfather, Papa Shango. You know, you
Hmm.
don't say anything about that stuff. You know,
Yeah,
that was a question that I had that I wanted to ask you.
right. Well, that's just like they inducted Razor Ramon, but they never inducted Scott Hall. So
Yeah, that was one of the things that I figured I'd ask you. That's it.
all right. All right, up next we have Vader coming out to induct Stan Hansen, and Vader takes full advantage of his time in the spotlight and is hamming it up.
No,
Um,
no, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Everybody
well,
did. Maybe
yeah,
he
but
was
he
the
was
first.
really,
Dude, maybe he was the first, but everybody did following him. But dude, see, here's the thing. Did you grow up with Vader, like the WCW Vader, the Mastodon Vader,
no, no,
when he was pandering to the crowd and hamming it up? I
that was
did
yeah.
that. I did that after I won a spelling bee in the fifth grade. I did the exact same thing. I put my fingers into the V, and I was going around saying, "Who's the man?" and all that other stuff. So when he came out, I went ecstatic.
Yeah. He said that Stan Hansen had a heart rate of 130 at one time, and that meant that at the 20-minute mark in the match, Hansen was just getting started. He
Yeah,
talks
that's
about his
crazy.
battles in Japan with Hansen and told the story where he got his eye popped out. He put over Hansen for being tough and hard hitting. Then he does this thing with the darn joke glasses. I mean, that was the thing where it felt like he thought it was gonna be so funny, and it didn't come off that funny.
Dude,
Did you laugh?
no, I didn't laugh, but it was like a little corny joke, but I thought it came off well. I don't think it came off bad. For some reason, I thought he was gonna put on like some different red glasses. When he was in WWE, did he have like some red glasses?
Nuh-uh.
That's the for some reason that's what I kept thinking he was about to put on, like his gimmick when he was in WWE. But I don't remember him wearing red glasses. So when he did the thing with the eye popping out, it gave you a visual
Yeah,
because I heard the stories, but I could never really force myself to think of the visual. So I mean, it gave you the visual.
yeah. So Hanson comes out and says Vader is his kind of man, strong, fast, and stiff as a board. He tells a story of Vader having tickets for the Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson fight, and Hanson declined to go because he said the punches thrown in that boxing match couldn't come near the toughness of the ones they threw against each other.
Yeah, that was awesome right there when he did
Yeah.
that. That was cool.
He thanks JBL for keeping his name out there and always bringing him up. Talks about losing to Rick Martel in 9 seconds and his mother teasing him about it until her dying day. He talks about breaking Bruno's neck. He credits Andre for all his success in Japan. I thought it was a really good speech and one of my favorite of the night. And also, I have to mention that during his speech, the camera cuts to Bruno, and of course, me being me, my eyes directed right behind him and right on to Becky Lynch, and oh my God, she was looking so sexy, and that dress she had on made me very happy.
This dude. Okay, now, as far as Stan Hansen, I'm glad that they inducted him. The one memory I had of Stan Hansen after I watched this Hall of Fame, because dude, when you say Stan Hansen to me, I can't put the name to the face. Dude, when he
Yeah.
was in WCW, the tobacco, I was like,
Mm,
oh, that's the guy. Yeah, he was the obviously he was the cowboy badass, which it was obvious, and he was slinging around that freaking the